Hello, AP Computer Science A students. This is Mr. Vargas, and I am here to review our third practice free response question. So this question is called cookie orders, and it focuses on array lists, or it uses array lists. As before, I'm going to code it and explain why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I'm also going to go over the scoring. Now, I might not go too much into the scoring because this exam was from 2010 and they used to do scoring a little bit different. The questions are still worth 9 points, but they used to break it down a lot more and give half points. And in a way, it was kind of repetitive because you would get some things you would do and you would get multiple points, like half points for it. But I'll still go over it because it's still pretty relevant, but maybe not as much as I normally do. All right, as always, there's gonna be some questions for you to answer, so please pay attention. And all right, let's get started. So, cookie order class or cookie order problem. You have a cookie order, and I've coded the cookie order here. In fact, I gave you guys this code, so you guys should have if you decided to run the code, because remember, you don't have to run your code doesn't have to run. You don't have to on the day of the exam. They're gonna, in fact, I think they're gonna go out of their way to give you something you're not gonna be able to code. But this one isn't too hard to code. So over here, I have my cookie order. As mentioned before, cookie orders have a variety and they have the number of boxes. That's all they have. It has two getter methods. So we have a cookie order class. Then we have our master order, and master order has one instance variable, which is an array list of cookie orders. You have to make sure you use an import when you use array lists. So we have an array list of cookie orders, and our constructor just creates a new list. It's called orders. That's the name of our array list of cookie orders. And then they do one method for you called add order. Your problems A and B are right here. So this is A. You have to write the method that will return the number of boxes in all of the orders, and then B will remove a particular variety and then return the number of boxes removed. All right, so let's jump into A. So A total. So the total boxes, the get total boxes method computes and returns the sum of all the boxes of cookie orders. All right. So we're getting the sum again. This has been pretty common, right? We've done this in I believe in the other two we've counted something. So again, it's always has the same structure. Int sum equals 0. And just to let you know, at this point, creates in 2010 they called this an accumulator. I haven't really seen that word, but that's what they're talking about. So right there, you get half a point for doing int sum equals 0. And then at the end, we're going to return sum, right? So we're getting all of the boxes. So we create a variable, started at 0, and then at the end, we're going to return it. And that is also worth half a point. Let me see. Returns computed total. So right there, that's one of the 3 points. So for this question, they've broken it down. Part A is worth 3, part B is worth 6. Usually it's 4 and 5, but that's how they did it for this one. So this is worth 3 points. So we set that up. Now it's time to go through the list of orders and add up all of the boxes. So again, whenever we calculate sums, a lot of times we use loops for this. The official solution actually uses an enhanced loop, but you can use an enhanced for loop, but you can use any loop you want. So I'm going to actually use a regular for loop, and I'll show you the enhanced for loop version as well. In fact, I'm going to give you the solution, so you'll see the enhanced for loop. But I just want to show you, I think a lot of you guys are more comfortable with the traditional for loop, so I'll do it that way. So int I equals 0, right? We're counting through an array list. Usually the first element in the array list is 0, so we're gonna start it at 0, while I is less than orders dot size All right. Make sure it's less than and not less than or equal to, right? Why? Because remember, size doesn't start counting at 0. Size is just how many elements are in there. So if there are 10 boxes, you're going to start counting at 0 and the last box will be 9. You don't want it to try to check the box at index 10 because you'll get an error. So that's why it's less than. All right, and then I plus plus. All right, so this will count from 0 to the number of orders in cookie order, or the number of cookie orders in orders. All right, so in here we just have to calculate our sum. So sum equals sum plus, and then we're gonna do. So we want to get the number of boxes. So this is what I was worried that this was gonna mess some of you guys up a little bit. All right, so the array list is called orders, so it's orders, right? And we want to get the number of boxes of the first cookie order, and then the second cookie order, and the third cookie order. So you have to do get I. All right, so what does get I do? Well, if you go to so the way array list works is that get I will get the item at index I. So when the first time through the loop, it'll get the cookie order at index 0. So the first cookie order. Well, what do we want to do with that cookie order? That cookie order is not a number. So if you left this like this, you'll get an error because it's like you're trying to add a cookie order to a number. That doesn't make any sense. But every cookie order has a method called getNumBoxes that does return a number, returns an int, and that's what we want to do. So get num boxes. All right, let me hit compile, make sure there's no errors. So that's it. That's question A. So question A, we got to count the number of boxes. So we create a variable, set it as 0. Then we make a for loop that will repeat the size of the orders, however many orders there are in there. And then every single time, every single element in this array list, it does sum plus however many boxes are at location 0 in order 0, however many boxes are in the order in location 1, and so forth. So this is question 1, and so you get 1 point for basically having this for loop and having orders.getI in there and making sure that you don't have that equal sign. If you have that equal sign, look, then that means you have an out of bounds error. So you'll lose half a point because you put an equal sign in there. So that's worth 1 point. Then you get 1.5 points for basically doing this, and then this sum plus. And so that's the first question, question A. Now let's do, and then I have some runner code over here. Actually, let me see how my runner code works. So my runner code, this is actually from question 2, from question B, where we create a new order, a new master order called goodies, and then we add 4 orders to it: chocolate chip, shortbread, macaroon, chocolate chip, and then these are the boxes. And then I do get total boxes. So if I'm correct, it should return 11. And then I'm going to do remove variety, but I haven't coded that one yet. That's B, so that won't do anything. And so it should print out 1111. So let's run this. And that's correct. It prints out 1111. All right. So now let's code remove varieties. Because once we code remove variety and it removes chocolate chip, that means it's going to remove this order. In this order, we're only going to be left with these 2 orders. So on my second print statement, it should print 7. So after I finish remove orders, so or remove variety, I'm sorry. So let's go back into master order, and let's do remove variety. So this one is worth 6 of the 9 points. And let's look at the question again, just to kind of clarify what we got to do. So I mean, I kind of just went over it. It's gonna take in a string, and then it's gonna remove the orders at wherever the variety is equal to the string that was passed in. So when you do remove chocolate chip, it's going to check every order, and if that order's variety is chocolate chip, it removes that order. All right. So one thing you need to be comfortable with these or with array lists is the array list methods, right? So there's get, which we used up here, and now in this next example, we're going to use remove, and yeah, so those are two of the important ones, get and remove. And in fact, in up here, we're using add. So add, these are methods of array list. Every array list, if you want to add something to an array list, you got to use add. If you want to remove something, you do remove. If you want to get something, you use get. All right, so let's code this. So remove variety, and they're passing in the variety. It's in cookie var. So I'm going to create a variable because I do know, if you notice over here, it says that this method returns the total number of boxes removed. So let's just create that variable right from the get-go. So int num boxes removed, we're going to start that at 0. And then we are going, so now we got to go, again, just like we did up here, we got to go through the entire array list, looking for any orders that match cookie var and then removing it. Now, this is really important. Whenever you're removing things from an array list, the direction that you traverse the array list matters. And the reason is because when you're using a for loop, it's going to start at location 0, then location 1, and then location 2. However, if you remove something inside of a for loop, then all the indexes are going to change. So let's say you found a order at location 2 that was chocolate chip, and then you remove that item, right? And then the array list starts again. So then the for loop will repeat again, and this time it's going to check the next spot. But remember, everything got shifted forward. So whenever you're removing things, I think it works a lot better to start counting at the end of the array list and work your way forward. So so we're going to start at the end of and there is actually a solution with forward traversal, and it's going to be in the solutions that I give you. But I'm going to do it, I think it's more logical to do it the way I'm saying. So so yeah, I would count from the end. So int I, so instead of starting at 0, we're going to start at the end of the end of orders. So orders dot size. Now be careful. Remember, size starts counting at 1, but indexing starts at 0. So you don't want to start at, like over here, there's 4 things inside of my array list. I don't want to start at item 4 because item 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 does not exist. So instead of starting at orders.size, we're going to start at orders.size minus 1. All right. And then we're going to keep repeating as long as I is greater than or equal to 0. So we're starting at the end. So we're starting at size minus 1. So this has a size of 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. So we're starting at location 3. And then we're going to keep repeating as long as we're greater than or equal to 0, because we want to check 0. 0 is the first item. All right. And then instead of plus plus, it's going to be minus minus because we're doing reverse traversal. All right. And you know what? While I'm at it, let me just change the 0. I already know what the 0 is going to be. The 0 is going to be num boxes removed, even though we haven't calculated yet. All right. So now what we're going to do. So we have a for loop. It's traversing this index will traverse the entire array, but now we have to check to see if the order at location I has a variety that's equal to cookie var. If it is, it's gone. So now here's another part that I think is tricky for some of you guys. Cookie var is a string, and the variety of each cookie is a string, and you can't do equals equals with 2 strings. You can do equals equals Like if you did cookie and cookie var had cookie in it, it would say false. All right. Um, this works with integers. This works with Boolean. This works with primitives, but it does not work with strings or objects because strings and objects don't actually store the item inside the variable. It stores the memory address of the item. So what you want to use here is equals. So if cookie var is equal to the variety of the order at location I, so let me write, so that's kind of a mouthful, but let me code that right there. Orders dot get I, this will get the order at location I, and then it's gonna do get variety, and that's our if statement. So think about this. If this cookie var, so in our example, it's gonna be chocolate chip. If chocolate chip is equal to the variety of the item at location I of orders, then we're gonna do something. And now remember, I is starting at the end of the list, and it's moving its way forward. All right. So if we find a match, what are we gonna do? Well, we want to we want to remove it, but we also want to keep track of the number of boxes removed. So let's calculate the number of boxes removed, and then we'll remove it. So num boxes removed equals num boxes, and the official solution does the plus equal thing. I hate that, but most programmers do it that way. So I don't know. I guess I'm teaching. I'm kind of being a little biased here, but I feel like it's just more straightforward to see it written like this. But feel free to use the plus equals. That's again, all the solutions use the plus equals, but you won't lose any points for doing it the longer way, the way I like to do it. All right, so num boxes removed, so we found a match, is equal to num boxes removed plus the number of boxes at that location where we found our match. And we have to do get num boxes, right? So remember, get num boxes is a method over here. Get num boxes. It will return, and boxes is an int. So it'll return 3 for the first time over here. So it'll return a 3. So it'll do 0 plus 3, num boxes removed becomes 3, and then it'll, over here, there's no match, but then it finds chocolate chip, right? Because chocolate chip is over here, and chocolate chip is going to be equal to orders.get 0 get variety, because that's going to be chocolate chip, finds the match, then it will do, then it'll return that 1, or it'll return a 1, and that gets added to num boxes removed. All right, so this will calculate the number of boxes removed, but we have one other thing to do. We actually have to remove the order. So remember, the array list of orders is called orders. So you do orders dot, and then we're going to use remove. Remove is just every array list has remove, right? If you want to remove something, you got to do remove. All right, and let me hit compile, and we have an error. What's my error? Parentheses expected. What is this parentheses from? Get variety. Am I missing an extra parentheses here? Oh yeah, I am. We're missing this one. There's one over here. All right, so let's hit compile, and we have another error. Reached in the file, missing another brace down here. Let me do another error. What's this one? Num boxes. I misspelled it. I put cannot get num boxes. That's supposed to be capital. I'm sure you guys noticed that a while ago when we're yelling. Missing return statement. The return statement should be outside of the for loop. Edit auto layout. All right. Now I think I'm good. Any more errors? Nope, no more errors. Let's run cookie order. Cookie order runner. 11 and 7. So that's it. So I didn't really talk too much about. Let me bring the scoring up real quick. The scoring, again, I think it's a mess the way they used to do it. It's a lot better now with the full points instead of all these kind of half points. So for this one, you get half a point for accessing an element of this.orders. Something I should mention is they use the word this in the official solution, and you'll see in the rubric there's the keyword this. You notice I'm not using this anywhere, and it still works. This is something you would see a lot more. It was just a kind of good practice way of coding that people used to use, and it's kind of gone out of favor. Nowadays, people use this more when you actually need it, and I don't anticipate you guys will run into needing the keyword this. The most common example of people needing to use this is if you have a class like cookie order and you create a variable called boxes inside of a method, but now you don't want to use the boxes that's in the method. You want to use the boxes that was outside of the method. It's kind of weird. You're not going to run into it, but it allows you to tell Java that you don't want to use the boxes that's inside of here. You want to use the boxes that's over there. Now, I don't think you guys are going to run into that because I kind of trained you guys to not every time you create a variable, give it a unique name. And some of you guys might have. I don't anticipate many of you guys even knew that you could actually have two variables with the same name in the same program, as long as one of those is inside of a method. Because if it's inside the method, nothing else can see it. But again, don't worry about this. I don't anticipate you will. You're not going to need it. I haven't seen any actually of the free responses that I've seen where you need to use this. All right. So, anyways, let me see. So you get half a point for comparing cookie var using equals. So that's what I was talking about over here. Where am I? Master orders. You have to use dot equals. That's worth half a point. Compare parameter or cookie var to all of the cookies with no out of bounds. That's just making sure that you did this correctly. Remove only matching cookie orders. So again, it's related to this and this, that you're removing only the ones that matched. And then this one over here, remove no element skip. Remove all matching orders, no element skip. That's why you need this reverse counting. If you did it forward counting, then you would have a problem where it actually would skip elements in some cases, because if you start counting from the beginning, when you're at element 1, if element 1 is a match, then the next time through, when you're checking element 2, you're not actually checking the next element. You're checking 2 elements later, because the one that was the next element has now taken the place of the old one. So, and then you get half a point for creating the variable, and then half a point for returning it, and then basically a full point for doing this over here, adding the number of boxes removed correctly. So that's cookie order. Next week we will do another sample or another practice free response that focuses on arrays instead of array list. So thank you for watching. Answer the questions, and good luck. And all right, bye.